Hello, everybody. It's the film Optimist, and today I'm talking about The Cabin in the Woods. If you haven't heard by now, this is just your run of the mill slasher film. Wait a second. Twist. Let's take your basic formula for your average slasher film, stick that in a blender with a bunch of movie monsters, and go crazy. Seriously, you have to see this movie. It was good. Or was it? In my opinion, hell yes. But if you're looking for actual plot and humor, You should just watch the movie. It's done something you'll be talking about for a while. Thanks go to Alex on Omegle. It's my first Omegle review. Context: I do Omegle. I go on there and hey, my name is Nick. I write reviews and take requests for future reviews. What's your favorite movie? What's this? What's this? And I started doing that just kind of as like a social experiment in a way. I used to ask strangers to like talk about movies too. They've since removed that option because there's a lot of toxicity with it. I mean, it's toxicity in general, but seeing like they'd share like fucking like child pornography links and stuff in the fucking, it's like what is going on? Um, this though, like having conversations has been so great, and I guess this is my first Omega review. That's wild to think about. Maybe this is like retroactive. Maybe I forgot that it was requested, um, and then I put it afterwards. Like, oops. Yeah, Alex on Omega. I don't remember the conversation we had, but I bet he was like, it's one of the most genius movies ever made. Who did this shit again? Joss Whedon produced it, and it was written by Drew Goddard and Joss Whedon. Drew Goddard also directed. In his directorial debut, what a fucking great, like, wow. Wow, 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 wow. When did they film this? Like 2009. They yeah, so they made this in 2009. The cast are as follows: Kristen Connolly is Dana Polk. She's in House of Cards, and she's Jamie Campbell in Zoo. Chris Hemsworth, fucking Thor. This movie and Red Dawn, actually, the Red Dawn remake. He's in both of those, and They were recorded. They're filmed. Recorded. They're filmed before Avengers because they were both shelved, and because they had to get the funds. So fucking weird that both of those films did that. They came out after Avengers, thus pushing Chris Hemsworth's star appeal even further. Like people were like, "I want to go see Thor as not Thor in these movies." He plays Kurt Vaughn, a sociology major and football jock, who takes his friends to his cousin's cabin. Anna Hutchison is Jules Luden. She was the yellow cheetah ranger on Power Rangers Jungle Fury. Cool. Fran Kranz, Francis Elliott Kranz. Marty Mikulski, he's the fool. Jesse Williams as Holden McCree. Ooh, I love this guy. He was in a video game, wasn't he? And he's in Grey's Anatomy, or was. Detroit Marcus in Detroit Become Human. He's like the robot Jesus. Richard Jenkins is in it. Bradley Whitford, Ryan J. White. So I'm gonna spoil this movie if you haven't seen it. Don't watch this review for the love of God, please don't. Um, yeah, there's like a bunch of shit going on. In an underground laboratory, engineers Gary Sitterson and Steve Hadley discuss plans for a mysterious ritual after a similar operation in Stockholm has just ended in failure. American college students Dana, Jules, Kurt, Holden, and Marty are spending their weekend at Kurt Vaughn's cousin's cabin in the forest, in the in the woods. That's the name of the movie. Um, from the lab, Sitterson and Hadley remotely control the cabin and manipulate the students by intoxicating them with mind-altering drugs that have effects such as hindering rational thinking and increasing libido. This is just fucking everything up. That's not how it. That's not really how it starts. They kind of have that. They they kind of like set it up that way with the laboratory and everything, but they don't spoil it this quick. This Wikipedia article is fucked. What happens is fucking these kids get together in a cabin in the woods. It's kind of like Evil Dead setup. It's like, oh my god, there's not, and then they go in the basement and they find bizarre objects, a bunch of different objects, and everyone then they cut to the laboratory and you find out this is an experiment. And every horror film is an experiment done by these people, and it's to sacrifice people for this monster. Um, yeah, there's this big fucking the horde dies for blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's like this big sacrifice thing, the sacrificial thing. And like they talk about other genres as well, like the ghost girl in Japanese cinema, Ringu and stuff like that. Um, and then they intoxicate them with mind altering drugs that have effects such as hindering rational thinking and increasing libido. So like there's the tropes in horror movies where they're like, I think we should split up. Why? Why the fuck would you ever think? Why would you? Because like if we split up, we can cover more ground, and then yeah, and it's like, why? Who would ever think that? Who would ever in their right fucking mind think that? Especially after watching horror movies. And so these mind altering drugs do that to them. That's their explanation. And then they're like, man, I want to fuck. I want to have sex. And they go to have sex, and it's like, why would you fuck? And the biggest rule in horror movies, like back in the day, if you have sex, you're probably dead. If you're black, you're dead. Because both of those are cardinal sins, obviously. Can you shut the fuck up, please? Come here. Come here. I know you want to go out there. Wait till baby goes to sleep. For now, just join me in my review making. He's looking at me like, "Hi, Dada." Um, so they go in the basement and there's a bunch of objects, and one of them is like the Necronomicon, which is a great reference right there. And everyone in the lab, there's comedy here because they're all like, "Hey, what do you bet? What do you think they're gonna get? What do you think they're gonna get?" And like they all have like a bet going on. Everybody in the facility, and uh, Dana recites incantations from the diary of Patience Buckner, a cabin resident abused by her sadistic family. She recites incantations from the diary and inadvertently summons the zombified Buckner family. And everyone's like, "Yay! They got the zombie family, the zombie redneck family, yay!" Who had money on that? And it's like, and it's sick because they're watching people die, but in their mind, it's like we're doing what we have to do to save the world. These people have to die to save the world. That's what these experiments are for. Japan's failed, Stockholm's failed, everyone's failing. We as America need to be the country that rallies together. Um, yeah, they release pheromones to induce Kurt and Jules to have sex outside. They are attacked by the zombies, and Jules is decapitated while Kurt escapes. Marty discovers concealed surveillance equipment in his room before being dragged out by a zombie. The lab workers learn that the right in Japan has also failed, meaning that the American right is humanity's last hope, which has got to be fucking terrifying. What would you do in that scenario too? Like this is such a genius film. Kurt, Holden, and Dana attempt to escape in their RV, but Sitterson triggers a tunnel collapse to block them. Kurt attempts to jump a ravine on his motorcycle to seek help on the other side, but crashes into a force field and falls to his death. Such a wild moment. He jumps the ravine, he's like, woohoo! And he hits it, and it's like Hunger Games shit. It's like, and then like you see like the force field, and he falls down to his death, and it's like a comedic moment, but it's also like a shocking, like it's fuck me, this movie. Holden and Dana realize that their experience is staged and controlled. As they try to escape in his RV, Holden is killed by a zombie, and Dana is attacked once the RV crashes into the lake. The lab employees, seeing that Dana is the only survivor, celebrate the success of the right, but are interrupted by a phone call from the director, revealing that Marty is still alive. Marty saves Dana and takes her to a hidden elevator he discovered. They descend into the lab and discover a. Sorry, buddy. They descend into the lab and discover a large collection of different monsters locked in cages. Dana correlates them with the objects in the cabin cellar and realizes that the objects determine which monsters are released. Cornered by security personnel, the pair release all the monsters, which wreak havoc and slaughter the staff. Hallie is killed by a merman while Dana accidentally stabs Citizen to death. Yeah, Hadley is played by, like I said, Bradley Whitford, who was in Billy Madison as the fucking Weasley. God, what is his name? The Weasley Eric Gordon in that one. And he jokes about Merman. He's like, for once, I would just like to see the Merman. No one picks Merman. And then he gets killed by Merman. He's like, oh shit, so fucking funny. And like the monsters, like look up, uh, watch the film first and foremost. But in every single containment center, it's kind of like 13 Ghosts. There's a monster in each of these cells, and they all represent different monsters. They of course couldn't get the rights to everybody, but think about what is that game that everyone likes right now? Dead. What the fuck is it called? Dead survival game. Dead Dead by Daylight. There are a lot of movie monsters in that. There are there's Leatherface. There's Wow, this is crazy. Dead by Daylight removes Leatherface masks due to reports of racial abuse. What the fuck? Just wait a second. I'll come back to this. Jesus Christ. Um, but yeah, there's a bunch of monsters. The ancient ones. They're sacrificing to the ancient ones. That's why they kill everybody. So Dana and Marty flee and discover an ancient temple where they're confronted by the director. The director is played by Sigourney Weaver. Fucking great. She explains that worldwide annual rituals of human sacrifice are held to appease the ancient ones, a group of cruel subterranean deities. Each region has its own ritual, and the American ritual involves the sacrifice of five slasher film archetypes: the whore, the athlete, the scholar, the fool, and the virgin, which is Dana, the main character. And she's like, "But I've had sex," and she's like, "You're close enough. Like, you're not a full virgin, no, but you're the best we got." The order of the killings is arbitrary as long as the whore dies first and the virgin dies last or survives. The director urges Dana to kill Marty to complete the ritual and spare humanity, as all other rituals have failed that year. Dana is about to, but is attacked by a werewolf while Patience kills the director, Patience Buckner. Marty proceeds to kill all except Dana. Deciding that humanity is not worth saving at the price of human sacrifices, Dana apologizes to Marty for almost killing him, and the two share a joint while awaiting their fate. The temple floor collapses and a giant hand emerges from the ground, destroying the facility and the cabin as the world ends. A beautiful ending. If you were put in that situation, would you let the world end? A lot of people talk about the world ending and go, fuck it, let it burn. And obviously they took that chance, like, okay, we're going to let it end. Such a great movie. Again, thanks go to Alex on Omegle. Omegle. I haven't called it Omegle in a while. Omegle. Um, I'm so happy that I took that and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna talk to people about strangers about movies, because if not for him, I wouldn't have watched it. Well, at the same time, this was the third movie that I watched with my best friend at the time, and fuck, it gives you such goosebumps and chills and excitement. Uh, it's such a unique film. There's nothing else quite like it. It only made 66.5 million against a budget of 30 million, but critically, people are like overwhelmingly like this is a phenomenal fucking movie. Such a simple title, The Cabin in the Woods. What a fucking! I remember that them announcing it and talking about it. I'm like, what? A movie about a cabin in the woods, like Evil Dead and fucking what's the other one that I just Cabin Fever. Really, another one, and completely flips it upside down. You guys have a good one. If you haven't watched this movie, please, for the love of God, watch it. Hopefully, you heeded my warning and you're not seeing this if you haven't seen it, because shut the fuck up and watch the movie. I don't want you getting spoiled. Even if you're like, I don't care about words and your spoilers mean nothing, you peasant, still watch the movie. Ollie, shut the fuck up. Have a good one.